One thing has not changed between Fidel Castro and me. We still like to argue. 25 years ago, we clashed over questions about freedom. This time, even after all these years, we still argue. Here's how we sparred the first time around. Let me be specific. Your newspapers, radio, television, motion pictures are under state control. No dissent or opposition is allowed in the public media.
Bárbara.
Yes.
Bárbara. Nosotros no tenemos las mismas concepciones.
We do not have your same conceptions.
Nosotros no tenemos el concepto de libertad de
Our
prensa.
concept of freedom of the press is not yours.
Desde luego, se lo digo con toda.
And I say this very
No
honestly.
tengo que ocultar absolutamente
I
nada.
have nothing to hide.
Si nos pregunta que aquí puede aparecer un periódico
If you
sobre
ask us
socialismo,
if a paper could appear here against socialism, I could say honestly, no, it
no
cannot
lo
appear.
permitirá ni el
It
partido,
would not be allowed by
ni
the
el
party,
gobierno,
the government,
ni el
or
pueblo.
the people.
En ese
Or
sentido,
the people.
en ese
Or the
sentido,
people.
en ese sentido
Okay.
no poseemos
In that sense,
la libertad
we do not
de prensa
have
que posee
the
usted.
freedom of the press that you possess in the U.S.
You still do not have freedom of the press. You do not have your newspapers, your radio, television. Everything is controlled.
Muy difícil, pero...
Yes, Barbara, it's very difficult to persuade you.
Okay.
Bárbara, para que volvamos a repetir aquella...
There's no sense in going back to those arguments of years ago. This argument is too old now. Now I would like to say this.
Pero no de todo el norteamericano.
Not all Americans feel the same. Look, Barbara, I have been talking to Americans for 43 years, and in the last few years much more. And sometimes I am criticized for the many hours I spend talking with them. We go on until 3 in the morning.
I know. You and I have done that.
Mucho los problemas del mundo.
And you know, I think that the Americans are coming to understand better that there are more important problems in the world than definitions of freedom of the press.
Yeah, but we allow opposition. We don't mind that. You know.
¿Tú has visto, Bárbara, alguna vez?
Barbara, have you ever seen a demonstration in Cuba that has been suppressed with tear gas?
Do you allow demonstrations at all? Do you allow demonstrations at all? Do you allow demonstrations at all?
¿Y usted la permite?
And do you allow them?
Porque aquí
Do
no
you
se
allow
produce,
them?
pero para
Here we don't have them.
But do you allow them if someone wanted
Why do we
to?
need to prevent anything that doesn't happen at all?
¿Existe?
You wouldn't
Why do
let
we
it.
need to prohibit something that doesn't exist, Barbara?
But you don't let it happen. Maybe people might want to protest.
¿Pero por qué no lo hace?
But why don't they do it if they want
¿Por
it?
qué no
You
lo
won't
hace?
allow it. Won't allow it. Won't allow it.
Nosotros recogemos.
Look, Barbara, we collect unofficial polls, and these are not directed polls where you ask a question that would guide the answer. No, these are open questions so we know how the people feel about the issues.
Mayor número de, por ejemplo, de médicos per
For instance, Cuba has the highest number of doctors per capita in the world. In the world. All the citizens have full guarantee for their life. Their children do not need to become beggars here. They have the possibility to study free of charge into the university.
You talk about polls, but we are familiar with a poll of 11,000 people, the Varela polls, in which they asked for more democracy. Petitions calling for a referendum on more democracy started being circulated in Cuba more than a year ago as part of what is called the Varela Project. Under Cuba's constitution, a petition signed by more than 10,000 citizens should force a referendum. The Varela petitions bear more than 11,000 signatures. And under your constitution, with 10,000 signatures, you should honor that. But it has not been these people who were dissenting and wanted more freedom.
Is that your statement?
No, it's a question. My question is, why did you not honor those dissenters?
La pregunta de si tienen derecho.
Now you said that there were 10,000 people having the right to present a petition. Yes, they have the right to present a petition, but not to change the Constitution. Anyone has the right to present a petition, yes, and they will receive the response from the National Assembly. But I'm sure the National Assembly will take all the necessary steps. They will have their response in due course. In due course.
You feel socialism works. It seems that the tide in the rest of the world is turning away, that you see China allowing more free enterprise. The Soviet Union is no more. We see people in your country hungry. We see people going on boats and risking their lives to leave this country. So it seems to many people that socialism is not working. Does socialism work?
Yes, it does. Yes, our socialism works in our country. I can only speak to you about Cuba. I know what the Chinese have done and the Vietnamese have done for their people. If they did not have socialism, they wouldn't have been able to attain the economic growth they have today. Does capitalism work in Mexico when millions of Mexicans are putting their life at risk? When thousands die every year trying to get into the United States?
Porque no podemos ir al paso de los demás y quedaron en que todos nos vamos a ayudar, pero nos vamos por la selva.
Ellos aseguraron el día de hoy cuando llegamos